It's Halloween 2016, and I'm back. Where is that Voorhees? Hey, hockey puck! What a dimwit. We're back, and we're ready to party, Jason and I. But first, we gotta take care of these two numbskulls here that have been doing our job for us for the last few years. They've been fighting over the movies. They still haven't done anything with me. They did your story, but not mine. But anyway, let's go to Dave and Vince so they can do their review of their next big Scream Factory.
Well, thank you, Jason and Freddy. You guys were great. And happy Halloween, everybody.
Yes, happy Halloween. We finally made it to Halloween 2016, and it's still horror month, at least until midnight.
Tonight, we decided to give you a classic film for Halloween this year. And once again, it is from Scream Factory, because they released quite a lot of stuff this year.
Yeah, they did. They went crazy with all the Blu-rays this year. But I kind of wish they would have kind of brought them out a little closer to Halloween. I mean, this one came out real close to Halloween. And that's Stephen King's Carrie.
I did not get the special edition of this. I've been getting the special edition of almost all the releases, like The Thing and Return of the Living Dead. And some of the other ones I had gotten special releases from because those are some of my all-time favorite movies. And I did order this from the Scream Factory website, but it was too late, so I didn't get a poster or anything, which is a shame because I love what they did with the front cover.
Yeah, I really liked what they did with the slip covers here too. I mean, they put some pretty cool artwork on it.
It's definitely very modern. If you want to take a look at it here, it's really just a cool drawing of Carrie in front of the car, and it's just a really, really cool it's just cool, Vince.
So you're saying it's cool?
It's pretty cool, yeah.
You're cool with this?
I am totally cool with this.
Well, I'm pretty cool with this because here on the inside, of course, it's got a reversible cover where you can put the actual movie poster on the front of your disc if you choose. And I just did it for the review because just to show it. But it's pretty lame.
I'm wondering, is that the original poster for the movie? Because it is. It's really weird.
I believe it is. I mean, I've seen this like tons and tons of times, so I believe it's one of the, or at least one of the original posters.
All right, Vince. So first I got to tell you that I knew this was coming out from Scream Factory because they usually announce their stuff months in advance. And a big Stephen King fan, that doesn't even make sense.
And everyone makes fun of them.
And I'm a huge Stephen King fan. Well, not so much now. I used to be a really big one.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big Stephen King fan. I really like a lot of Stephen King's stuff. But lately he hasn't done really any horror stuff. He's done some strange stuff. I mean, a lot of his books and a lot of his things that even his TV movies, they've been like weird or strange, but they haven't really been horrifying like his earlier stuff.
For whatever reason, I had never read the original Carrie novel, and knowing this was going to come out, I actually went out and bought and read the original novel, which of course was his first novel, and that's what made him, I think it was $400,000 or something like that, and made him famous. And it was incredible. I mean, I loved it. It was one of those books that I could not wait to get back to find out what happened. Even though I'd seen the movie, it didn't matter because the book was so well written. I still knew what was going to happen, but I couldn't wait to see or read what was going to happen. It was great.
And that's what makes the story so good. That's the product of a good writer. When you actually have seen the movie and you want to read the book, even though you know what's going to happen, and here all these years, I mean, this book has been out, and you know what's going to happen in it, but you still can't wait to read it. I mean, that's the product of a great writer.
Let's get into the extras.
Okay, well, getting into the extras, on the first disc, there is no extras except for the trailers. There's only like trailers, and I believe there was TV spots, something like that. So I had never seen actually the trailer for Carrie, so watching it for the first time, that was interesting. They also show the franchise trailers. So this is also how I knew they only made two remakes. And they also made, of course, Carrie 2, The Rage, because they show them all on this first disc. But there's no commentary, there's no anything else. So the first disc, that's it.
All right, so now the sequel, the second disc, which will be the sequel to the first disc, right?
The second disc would be a sequel to the first disc?
Yeah, because it's the second disc, therefore it's a sequel.
I believe so. Let's go.
So disc 2, we start with the extra called Writing Carrie. Now, this is about the screenwriter who is talking about how he got the rights to make Carrie. And first of all, Vince, let me say, I couldn't stand this guy. I hated this guy.
It's funny that you should say that. Because I totally agree with you. This guy is like on this disc everywhere, and he is absolutely annoying.
Well, what makes him so terrible is he's so full of himself. He's like, yeah, I read this book and, I wanted to make it into a movie and I moved to Hollywood and, I had all these people throwing ideas at me and I was like, no, I don't want those ideas. I'm too good. I don't want those ideas. I turned them all down. And then I found Carrie and I really wanted, and he just talks about how great he is and how he could just turn all these, $1 million jobs down because you don't want them until he finally found one he got. And this guy was just annoying.
Yeah, and another thing that bothered me was his eyes. I mean, he had like bug eyes.
Don't stare at me, you got the bug eyes.
I am the greatest producer ever. I am the best producer you will ever meet.
I wrote Carrie. I'm going to write Carrie. And we tried to write in the Stones part, but the Stones part wasn't working. So we had to get rid of that. So I had to rewrite the whole script.
Yeah, I don't know. The guy, just terrible. I didn't want, the whole entire interview, I was just sitting there thinking, oh my God, just get this guy off the screen.
And speaking of the stone, this rain of stones that was supposed to happen in the film, he goes on and on and on about that. I think every single interview they did with him on this disc, he talks about that scene.
So up next, we have Shooting Carrie.
Yeah, this guy wasn't too happy.
Hang on. Now Becky's walking. Hang on.
There she goes again.
There she's walking.
So this guy, he's obviously Italian, and trying to understand him was really hard to make out what he was saying.
I couldn't understand 5 words that he said.
And they did, I guess, this, I think, as far as I'm concerned.
He wasn't really all that excited about it until he got to the end, and then he says, yeah, okay, it's okay film. Yeah. So the next interview they have on here is...
Let me say something before we get to this extra, Vince.
Cutting Carrie. And this is an interview with the editor, Paul Hirsch.
First of all, usually Scream Factory knocks it out of the park. I mean, they usually get all these great interviews, and they're all really interesting. The thing with these interviews is they're playing Carrie's, love song, her theme, or whatever the heck it is, behind every one of these people, and it's like, and it's just so hard for me to stay awake. I mean, and I had to hear it over and over, and that's all they play in the background of these interviews is just
Oh man. Yeah, it was. It was pretty terrible. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Dave. But it could have been worse. They could have played that jazzy music that they played in the one scene where they go in to get their tuxes.
Yeah, that would at least kept me up, I guess.
Okay, so what Paul Hirsch had to talk about was pretty much the same thing that Mario Tosi in the last interview had to talk about, but at least you could understand him. And that is, he wasn't crazy about this film. He wasn't crazy about making it. He thought it was a step backward for himself.
Yeah, he did, until like Brian De Palma came up to him and explained to him sort of what the movie was about and how to use the split screen and do all this, and then he started sort of getting excited about it. He's like, oh, okay, I can understand how this could be pretty cool.
And he talked about how hard it was to do all that because, of course, at the time, they hadn't really thought about it. I guess they hadn't really planned on what they were going to do, so they were just kind of coming up with it. So when they filmed Carrie at the end, and she's walking down the stage, she's looking left, she's looking right, but when they filmed all the other stuff, they didn't actually put what she was looking at there. So they actually had to do the split screen to make it look like she was actually looking toward, those people, or toward the doors, or toward the fire hose, or whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad extra. I just got a text from Domino's.
Look at these two. I mean, they're so out of shape. It's ridiculous. Well, they might not have the bodies, but I've got the brains.
You sure it was Domino's?
Enter your secret word on the website. Your secret word for Domino's pizza giveaway. All right, next we have casting, and this is all about this woman talking about how she cast Carrie.
The one thing that I really knew all these years about when they cast Carrie, because of me being a huge Star Wars fan that I am, I always knew how they cast Carrie because they cast Carrie at the same time that they were casting Star Wars. So George Lucas and Brian De Palma actually sat there and interviewed all the same people for Carrie and at the same time they interviewed all the same people for Star Wars. And like William Catt, there's actually a screen test of him with Kurt Russell, and they're doing the lines of Luke Skywalker and Han Solo.
Yeah, it was an okay extra, but up to this point, all the extras just seemed like mediocre. I mean, I don't know. They just didn't blow me away.
Yeah, there wasn't really anything that stood out.
So next up, we have acting Carrie. You want to act like Carrie, Vince? Sweet, wee, 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 wee. Okay, so like I said, up to this point, all the stuff was just mediocre, and we get hit with this one, and this is more Scream Factory-like. We have interviews with the whole cast, including Sissy Spacek, everybody, and they looked great, Vince. I'm like, holy cow, these people don't age. They're amazing looking. I mean, everybody looks so freaking young. And, they're talking about the film and how much fun it was for them to make it and everything, and I was like, wow.
And I will say this was actually one of the better features on this disc. Seeing this, and I thought the same thing. I thought, wow, these guys are really young, but there was something strange about it, and I thought, I don't know how these guys could be still look that young. But then we get to the next extra.
Holy cow, these people age real fast. What happened?
This next extra is basically more acting Carrie, and it was all the brand new stuff that Scream Factory actually filmed.
I was thinking the one before this was the new stuff, but it wasn't.
Exactly. That was actually something from somewhere else.
And they kind of said all the same stuff again that they said when they were younger in the other interview.
Okay, one of the next extras here is called Visualizing Carrie. Now this footage was actually looked like it was old footage. Like this is an interview that they did from years ago. Not like 1974 or anything, but several years back. And because they had Brian De Palma in it, he was a lot younger than he is now.
See, that's the problem with this, Vince, is it's weird that they're going from the past to the present, to the past, to the present, to the past, and you don't know what's going on half the time.
So one thing I really do look forward to on Scream Factory discs is definitely this next extra, and that is Horror's Hallowed Grounds with Sean Clark. And this is a brand new one, made specifically for this collector's edition.
It's great. I mean, I don't think I've seen a bad Horror's Hallowed Ground on any disc, but this one I think really stood out, mostly because half of the stuff is still there that existed in the movie, and when he goes back to look at it, it's almost exactly the same. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's like everything is still painted the way it was. Everything's still, the bricks are still there. The like on the school and everything. When they go back to the school, everything, it looks like the gymnasium that they used in the movie, and all of it's there.
It's really exceptional, really, really good. So next is Carrie the musical. Here we go, Vince. We have our favorite guy again here.
This looks like it's a fairly new interview with him too, but he talks like the same that you saw in the other interviews.
How incredible the stuff that he does is, and
Boing!
how he came up with this amazing idea to do a musical for Carrie.
Boing!
Because he's so awesome.
Boing!
So finally we have an interview with an Italian guy who did the music for Carrie, and it's all subtitled, because I believe he's speaking in Italian, since he's Italian, right?
Yes, he's Italian, Dave.
This guy I actually liked, Vince. I thought he was pretty funny.
Well, I'm surprised you liked it, because actually I liked this guy too. I thought, out of all these interviews that they've done, most of the people that they talked to didn't like doing this movie. It was like a big burden on them to do this movie, but once they actually did it and got it done, they were happy with it. But it was like the whole time every interview they're complaining. But this guy, he actually enjoyed what he was doing.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, the guy, he enjoyed himself making the film, making the music for the film, and it was, I guess after all these downers, it was finally nice to see somebody who enjoyed it.
As far as the crew goes, it was like every single one of those guys complained except for this one.
So finally, we have TV spots, radio spots, a still gallery, rare behind-the-scenes photos, and the last thing, which I think was a real cop-out, even for Scream Factory. I mean, come on, guys. Is the Stephen King and the Evolution of Carrie's text gallery.
Yeah, when I first read this on here, I was like, ooh, that's going to be interesting. Because I thought, okay, well, they're going to put it up with the book and see what's the same in comparison.
No, they did not do that at all. It was basically text on how Stephen King got the book published and how much money he made off of it, and that was it. It was really lame.
Yeah, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be at all.
So overall, it did not impress me. I know it's one of those, okay, yeah, we always love Scream Factory. Yeah, the video is spectacular. The movie is still great, and it's a really great movie to watch on Halloween, and that's why we chose this one. But as for all the extra features on here, I was not impressed too much.
Yeah, you're right, Dave. I was really disappointed in this because I was really expecting quite a lot from it, being that the movie that it is, and I guess after seeing The Thing and Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 and all the stuff that they put on those, everything on here is pretty just, it's done well, it's just mediocre. It's actually a 4K scan of the film. So I will say this for it. This is the best I've ever seen Carrie.
Yeah, I haven't watched it that much. That's my problem too, is this is not a movie that I've seen over and over and over. So seeing it like this, I mean, it looked great, but I can't sit here and compare it to something that I've seen before because I have not watched it that much. So in all, I would have to give Scream Factory's Carrie a... 3 out of 5.
And I would also have to give Carrie a 3 out of 5.
So hopefully you guys have a great Halloween. Throw Carrie in, have some scares, and eat a lot of candy. I just got a text from Domino's.
Happy Halloween, everyone. Be safe.
These guys really need to get a life, or at least review my movies. Hey, Jason, what'd you think of that? What'd you think of the review? Happy Halloween, everyone.